Hello, Culture Matters podcast. Happy New
Wow.
Year's Eve 2025,
No.
Lollapalooza. I'm joined by my co-host Mike Calhoun and a bunch of friends from the Culture Matters podcast, the one and only John Duffin, Morgan DeNicola, David Levine, and Ruth Lee. And we're going to be talking about our words for 2025, 26, what we learned, and I haven't taken a breath yet. Mike,
Wow.
thank you for joining us. Ruth, meet David, David, Ruth, David, John, John, David, Morgan, John, John, Morgan, Mike, John, Morgan, Mike, John.
Nice to see and nice to meet everybody. Uh,
Nice to meet you.
there we go. I was just trying to get the camera angle right. Great to see y'all. This is cool.
John, I was gonna say I think the camera angle was like just a tad off.
Just a
Yeah,
tad, baby. Just a
yeah.
tad. So I just like I said, it's good to see you again, Mike.
Good to see you, brother.
There
Good
you
to
go.
see everyone here.
Right?
Morgan, Ruth, David, John, we're gonna have an amazing session. I can feel it. Matter of fact, when I looked at the lineup today, this was the only one that really stood out. Like this was the one I've been doing. We did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We did 9. We started at 5.
Okay.
We did 9 sessions to get to the. So this is our 10th session, right? But those 9 were to make sure we were ready for you because we can't go into this one unprepared.
Love
I
it.
I would clearly think that based on that intro, that this should work great.
I'd like to just share my word for 2025 was
Sure.
intensity. And the reason it was I was trying to burn myself in my own flame
Hmm.
so that I could be strong enough to step into love for 2025,
Hmm.
6, bringing all of you people that are important in my life together. So if anyone would like to share their word for either 26 or we could look backwards to live
Hmm.
forwards or
Yeah.
5 if you had one, if you didn't.
Mhm.
Who would like to go first?
John, you were quick. Then Ruth,
Sure.
Morgan, David,
Right.
let's do it.
So my word for 2025 was precision. And that was what I shared on this episode prior. So grateful for that. And while I'm glad I chose that word, I am going for a stronger version in 2026, which is expeditious. And that's not like this supercalifragilistic. It's not that, but it's expeditious, which is there's a sense of speed and urgency that I am sensing and feeling. And so it's really important for me to not squander time. And there's a lot of reasons for that, personal and professional. But the last thing I want to do is squander time at this point.
hmm
You
Well,
know,
I'll
I
tell
felt
you, my word for last year was deprogram. And I will tell you, I chose it because I wanted to be far more intentional about my thinking and how my thinking was being shaped. And one of the biggest expressions of that for me was stepping away from social media in my personal life.
Okay.
Wasn't a protest. It
Mhm.
wasn't because I hate technology. I'm very much interested in technology, but because I really wanted to understand its effect on me. And, they're not designed for clarity or kindness or understanding. Many times I found that they were designed to inflame and to outrage and to keep me slightly disoriented because of the strong emotions. And so this year, my word is amity. And we don't use that word very much anymore, but I love it because it's incredibly precise. It means peace without agreement. It's not about being nice. It's not about avoiding hard conversations. It's about engaging without hostility. And
Mhm.
so that's mine.
Wow.
Mhm.
Write that down.
I feel like I need to look that one up.
Yeah, it's kind of an old-fashioned word, but I think it's a word that really we as a maybe as a country might want to, we might all want to get that one, pull that
Say it
one.
again.
Amity, Amity.
Peace without agreement. I heard you
Peace
correctly,
without
right?
agreement.
Okay.
Wow.
I think she has like that one. I felt like I just learned something.
Yeah.
I just expanded.
Meet Ruth Lee. Ruth Lee, Mike Calhoun. Let's
Hi,
That was
go.
Mike.
awesome.
Nice to meet you.
Very
Even
well
it
done.
looks like David, you're just trying to pop right out of the seat with the top hat.
I'm getting ready.
Morgan,
I didn't start out with a word, but I reflected kind of on my 2025, and I would say my word was pivot. This was the year of the pivot for me. Anything I attempted to do didn't really go as planned, and I had to get creative and figure out ways to make things happen that I really had to get creative. And rather than just saying, oh, this didn't work and kind of throwing it out the window, figuring out how to make it happen. So I would say the word for me was pivot. It was a year of just pivot. But through the course of doing all of that, I realized that more and more leadership opportunities came about from my ability to pivot. So I have decided that 2026 is going to be my year to lead and to really take a lot more of a leadership role in a lot of the things that I do rather than kind of sitting back and seeing what other people do. Because I realized I have a lot more to bring to the table. And through doing those things, a lot more people started to follow me or call me for advice or to consult. And so I decided I'm going to take the bull by the horns, and 2026 is going to be my year to lead.
Mm.
I love
love
that.
that. Very well done. David,
Well, I only met Jay a couple months ago and, didn't have a word this year, but if I look back, I would say it's mostly restoration. It's been a year of uh, gathering, fortifying, and preparing. So this coming year, I would say my word is coherence, which is really around resonance, alignment, um, being in more of a natural flow, um, as opposed to trying to control or connect endpoints or being attached to outcomes, really just being in coherence or resonance with the field.
so the word was
Coherence.
coherence.
Fun fact,
Mm.
Morgan, about David. He's a technologist, but he started as a philosopher and ended up leveraging or let's say getting thrust into the technological, I guess, revolution. So philosopher first, then the systems and the structure came later. It wasn't the engineering of that first, and then the philosophy. And to fun fact, David, about Morgan is Morgan's. I can't. I won't try to describe your thesis. I'd like to give you the floor to do that, but I believe there's so much crossover philosophically between the two of you. And one more thing for everybody, David, so committed. No one to get to do this on New Year's Eve. Yeah, you have to have been on the Culture Runners podcast. So last night, almost to the wee hours of the night, we recorded it. So his episode went out this morning. Jenna made sure his episode went out this morning at 4 a.m.
Mhm.
Eastern. So he's here. It's fine. He gets to stay. This is all legit. Everybody has to be on the podcast. So he made it happen yesterday. We did it. Ollie came in, your
It was
grandkid. It was
fun.
great. So how about that for some commitment? Resonance.
So Morgan, can we hear about your vibe?
Well, it's actually changed so many times, which makes it a little bit more frustrating, but it's kind of evolved into the importance of diplomacy. The conversation kind of goes around diplomacy and how it's not a political thing, that it's a relationship thing, and that it's kind of a dying art, and that we're losing our ability to be tactful in our relationships with people. It kind of goes a little bit, I guess, along with what Ruth was kind of saying, that tolerance and that understanding without really agreeing, and through the vice chair work that I do with this NGO that I work with, US-based embassies around the world, I've noticed that a lot of diplomacy is just kind of dwindling. It's become a little bit more of an aggressive thing. So I've been pulled. A lot more people want me to do a podcast where I discuss the importance of utilizing it in our personal and professional lives. And I do a lot of it also in philanthropy. So it's kind of evolved, but I do a lot of speaking about how this is something that we all need, and we need to utilize it a lot more also to kind of like calm ourselves internally. The more diplomatic we're able to be, the calmer we are, the more understanding we are. And then it's not like a weak thing, or you're giving any part of you up in any sense of the term. You're still you. You're just able to understand people a little bit better and relate to people better. So it's kind of my whole thesis journey has evolved so much, and I'm still having people, put all different kinds of documentaries in front of me and books in front of me, because they say a lot of it's also how humans kind of thrive to be the best versions of themselves involve your ability to be diplomatic. So it's an ever evolving conversation with every person that I speak to. It seems to kind of take a life of its own.
Morgan,
I
I
love
can
that.
vouch for that. Simply, that's what drew me to you this year. It wasn't just Jay making the recommendation, but it was your sense that specific topic is why I was like, oh, I need to have you on my own podcast. And that's what it was that sense of the ability to be able to communicate. So, Ruth, when you said Amity, that it's that sense. I went right to Morgan because I remembered that, and I still draw from that episode and still want to learn more.
It's gotten a lot better. You guys were some of my first podcast appearances. I've grown a lot since then. I look back at our podcast together and I kind of laugh, and I'm like, oh, that's baby Morgan.
That was like baby John Host. So that's okay. Yeah.
Well, and I
I
just
think
want to say that, I loved your comment about diplomacy because, I think that, when we are training ourselves as leaders and our nervous system isn't being trained to react, we
Mhm.
can still hold strong values and clear boundaries, and we can still meet people where they are with a calm presence and, not pretend that we are someone that we're not. But leaders set the emotional tone. When leaders are reactive, systems become reactive. When
Mhm.
leaders are steady, systems can think. And that's a really important area, especially, as you kind of walk through, what you want to be. And, what I want to be is that type of a leader who can meet people where they are rather than convince them that I'm right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's one of the things I also talk a lot about is even in building a business and building your team, you want your team to be incredibly diverse, because you're going to be more successful if you surround yourself around diverse people and your ability to listen to them. And like you said, maintain that calm. It's amazing through the course of even practicing this, how I can sit across from somebody that is the polar opposite of me, that
Mm-hmm.
even tries to invoke those emotions, but you kind of sit there and you're like, you're not going to invoke this emotion. You're going to invoke curiosity. And I'm going to respond and not react. And it becomes something that you can really master in yourself. But like you said, at the end of the day, we are still ourselves when we leave a room or go home. It's kind of really great to see why somebody else thinks the way they do, and to have that understanding without saying somebody's right or wrong.
Liberating.
Oh yeah, incredibly liberating.
Do you have any practical advice for us of how to do that based on because you have a lot of experience in those environments? I would think what are things that you do to be responsive and not reactive?
I think it's starting small, having a conversation with somebody that you trust, and have that relationship with, that you can have conversations about things that are different from one another and come at it from that curiosity. Like, explain this to me, and kind of focus also on how you are reacting to this conversation. Like, okay, I'm feeling like I'm getting hot. Why am I getting hot? I'm feeling like I'm getting frustrated. Why am I getting frustrated? It's a lot of just this practice of why I am being how I am to whatever this topic is. And again, it's like building muscles. The more you do it, the more you can understand yourself, and just start really small. Start with friends and family. It doesn't have to be like your polar opposite political, it can start with friends. And I find that that's the easiest and almost the more fun, because you can have banter and make jokes with one another, and it becomes a lot easier to have those more difficult conversations. And then from there, I would take baby steps and ask those from a place of curiosity, not from judgment, to people that don't quite know me as well. And then that kind of grew to be, I'm now known in a lot of these worlds as somebody that you can just talk to. And I love that. Like, I
Mm.
love that people view me like that. And again, that's not to say that there aren't people that you don't agree with, but with every time that I do it, I feel like I'm flexing a muscle. I'm testing myself. I'm testing where I stand on certain things. And then I go home and I'm still me. And I'm like, yep, still me. But I feel more pride in my ability to do it. But yeah, slow and steady and small steps. And if you feel like you're ready to rage, rather than raging, say, okay, I pushed myself a little too far. Let's change the topic. Maybe we'll come back at this at another time, and stepping away from it. But you have to have that understanding with the people that you're with, that they'll allow you to walk away. Not, no, I'm not done saying my point, but they'll let you kind of be like, okay, let's go talk about something that I know isn't going to ruffle any feathers. But start small and work your way up, like anything you're trying to get good at, right?
Mhm.
Well, it's interesting that the people with the real power and diplomacy are those that are trusted by all the parties and really wind up bringing the messages and can translate accurately, can really see and hear all the people, all the sides, all the parties, and serve as that kind of hermetic translator messenger. So it sounds like you're in the right spot developing that talent.
Mhm.
And I just fell into it. Who would have thought? I didn't go to school for it. I went to school to be a teacher. And yeah, the world kind of opened up to me, and it was just something that I was oddly good at, but not in my 20s. In my 20s, I was a very reactive person. But as I got older, um,
Weren't we all?
yeah, I just started understanding my role, I guess, and that I had an ability to do it. But it was definitely something that I did not set out to do. So, but I'm grateful to be here. I love it.
Hmm.
So I'm listening to everybody, and I've kind of got questions like what does like Morgan, are you in the HR side of things? Are you a consultant, or like I'm trying to figure out what does everybody do? The like from a business standpoint, what I'm trying to guess, but I don't think I'm guessing correctly. So like,
I
I'm
love that.
curious as well, so let's just go around the
I
horn
love
and spit
that.
it out.
yeah, just because I try to like acclimate as fast as possible. We're bouncing from so many conversations, and I thought we were doing like one, a guest. We were interviewing a guest, but every one of these has like five, six, seven people on it. Which is wild. So I would just love to know you guys better. John, we've had a little time last year, so
100%. When
yeah.
you asked me that direct question early in the episode last year. So what exactly do you do? And I remember rattling off sales coach, sales trainer, blah blah blah. I re-listened. But what I would say is this. The easier way to say it is I help people when they are speaking for something important. So whether it is speaking for money, speaking for a job, speaking
Mm.
in order to be better understood, speaking when they're feeling heated up, and that comes from sales coaching, sales training, negotiating, job interviewing, and hence I bring my own business and personal experiences, good and not so good, to when I speak on stages. That I want to show the difference, not just I'm all that or just say this. It's really important, I believe, because I think it's an evolution. in terms of that. And I'm grateful. Time, experience, not just, oh, I said it's meaningless, that part, but what I've gotten to learn and the people that I've gotten to work with and around. So, what I do, I'm an expert in communications, yes, but really to me, it comes down to helping people when they are speaking for something that matters to them, helping them get what they want, at the very least, be clearly understood.
Yeah, conveying the value and making sure it lands in the right way with
Correct.
diverse audiences. I mean, I think we
Yeah.
probably have more diverse audiences nowadays,
Mhm.
especially as everything is globalized as well.
Sure.
We're not just communicating with people that are in our town or county. I mean, this is a very global environment, especially with the way social media has structured things and syndicated a lot of our messaging just by default. Um, well said, John. Thank you for
Thank
that.
you.
And then Morgan?
Uh, I'm in a really unique position. So I run our family foundation. So I now am in the world of philanthropy. I run our family foundation, but I'm also the vice chair of an NGO that works with the United Nations and members of Congress and the Senate. That is what I fell into, just as observing what that group was doing about 5 years ago. I slowly worked my way up into kind of running that as well. And then I also am on the board of the Elmwood Park Zoo. And then just my side hustle, I guess you could say, is I launched my own brand. And I do a lot of consulting for different groups. Anything that is just people that are trying to figure out, from business to philanthropy to mental health, just trying to get their ducks in a row. I kind of will just sit down with them and let them be kind of a soundboard for them and to help them organize their thoughts as well. And then I started being a podcast guest on all different podcasts around the world, talking about mental health and philanthropy, mental health and diplomacy. So I do a little bit of everything.
So
Wow.
every time I hear the word philanthropy, I think of family offices. Do you deal with a lot of family offices?
I do. I'm like, I do a lot of work with the next gen philanthropists. So the younger generation that is taking over a lot of these older, well-known groups that do a
Right.
lot of
Yeah,
charitable
I can
group.
see that being wildly valuable, especially because there's a gap between, the
Yes.
generations and helping to preserve the preferences from a legacy standpoint while preserving the enthusiasm and the energy and the fresh mindset of the newer.
Yeah, I like to say I'm trying to bring the human back in humanitarian work, because there's a lot of like a disconnect between personal donors and corporations and kind of how we all do it. There's a lot of people want to feel the emotion, want to feel like people actually care. So I just try to help a lot of people out figuring how they're going to go about doing it, but also kind of preserving the way family legacies have done it, but trying to get people more amped to help people again, because it seems like everybody wants to, but nobody knows how. So I like to just try to get everybody really like excited to try to help people again.
With AI and robotics, I mean, I heard somebody say the other day, the number one thing in the future with humans, the number one value in the future for humans is being human, right?
Mhm.
And I think it sounds like you're helping people do that better.
I'm trying. It's trying very hard.
Hey, we can sometimes be fickle, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
One day one way, one day the next way. Um, very nice, very
Hey,
nice.
can I ask something? Can we add on? I'm really curious
Please.
where everyone's beaming in from. So maybe, John, if we could just go back to you and then Morgan, just
Oh
like,
yeah, great question.
David, of course. And I am beaming in today live from Philadelphia, PA.
all right.
Former neighbor of Jay Duran's in Philadelphia by a few blocks, but still residing in Philadelphia, PA.
Cool.
Awesome.
David, how about you?
Oh, I'm in Shepherdstown, West Virginia.
Nice.
So on the river, in the woods, lots of trees, very few people.
Very
Were
nice.
you on the podcast last year, David?
No, I'm new to the whole gang.
Literally last night, and I went
Exactly.
back when Jay said that. I went back and saw that it is official and on
4 a.m.
Something
right
about you
before.
seems
last
familiar.
night for the first time.
It's
I
the
was
hat.
thinking the same thing though. You do seem familiar. That I
Experience
was
past life, you know.
It's the hat.
So that,
The hat. There you go.
Well, the hat and the jacket, which are both rocking it. So,
Ruth, where are you coming in from?
So I am coming in from my mother's house in Corpus Christi, Texas, although I live in Denver.
oh,
My
cool.
mother is having a surgery on Friday, and so I am doing without all of my accoutrement. And so I'm doing from my mother's guest bedroom. But I'm very happy to be here.
mhm.
It's been a year with her, and I feel very honored and blessed to have been a part of her journey.
Excellent, excellent. We were just done with the other day with a big real estate group out of Corpus Christi. It is that like a developing area?
My mom and dad, they lived in Austin, Texas for a really long time. And during the pandemic, it was really a tough place. And so they decided to move here. It seems like it might be, but I think that, long term, they're planning on not being here.
Mhm.
Not. Yeah,
You
Mhm.
know
fair
what they
enough.
say about Brazil is it's the future and always will be. It's probably similar in Corpus Christi.
Mm.
Well, it is where
Ah,
Selena was born.
Mm.
and then Morgan.
I am outside of Philadelphia, so I'm in a suburb of Philadelphia, so not too far. And today is my birthday.
Oh wow! Happy
Did I
Whoa!
birthday!
do that?
Morgan,
Whoa!
Happy
Happy,
birthday!
happy,
birthday.
happy birthday, Morgan.
Thank
Happy birthday to
you.
you.
Right?
Jay, where are you
Birthday
coming
to
from?
you. Happy birthday, Morgan. I don't even know the whole song.
Happy
I didn't
birthday to
celebrate that.
you.
I didn't celebrate that for a while, but happy birthday. That's great. I'd still be here forever. Wow.
I wanted to celebrate my birthday with you, Jay.
Oh.
It's the greatest gift. And quite frankly, what's so powerful about I'm so excited you're all meeting is because with John's like there's so much crossover and I'll digress, but
Right.
like I feel like David and Morgan, you guys got to connect because like the bridge between what you're acting out, if I understood what I learned last night on the podcast from this Spinozan philosopher turned technologist leveraging AI to like make the world the way you're doing it as one person. John's new book and what he does for
Ah,
people's whole life
yep.
story, and Ruth's like background in debate. And guys, just so you know, we're gonna get to Mike because his words from last year. This man has spent his whole life getting people together.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially, yeah, bringing those different views, those different humans. And I've gotten to work with him and be in the room where it happens, where there's 100 people that don't know each other
Wow.
looking, giving each other their attention. And
Mm-hmm.
so
It's
I'm
great.
just like very honored that you would do this on your birthday and that you got to meet
Mm.
some of my friends that I think you would be your friends.
You know I love meeting the people you know. You always know the best people,
Mhm.
so I'm here for it.
Yep.
Well, as
He does know the best people.
He
Jim Rohn said, there's only 8 or 9 bad people. They just move around a lot.
does.
But we need your training to
Mhm.
to do better. So, Mike, you wanted to ask something.
Well, I mean, I wanted to ask something. I think you wanted me to kind of give a little bit of
Oh,
insight
what's your word?
into, oh, the word. That's what it was. So I know he likes for us to have a one word thesis here. Have you ever reflected back and thought, man, if I had to do it all over again, I would do it this way, or I would do it differently? The interesting thing about 2026 is if we had to do it all over again, that's exactly what we have the opportunity to do. And we get to do it differently. And differently is not always better. we were talking to a gentleman earlier today that did 90 million or something in his his mortgage finance business, and they wanted to go to 150, and it's a certain activity that gets him to the 90, but it's not the same activity that gets him to the 150. And understanding when it's time to change gears, when it's time to either think or act differently, and be, wise enough to make that shift, because we also get caught in a routine of doing things a way because it's working. But for real growth, there comes a time when that gets handed to somebody else, or you have to behave or act or move differently to continue winning. And I think sometimes, if you're maybe the most vocal in a meeting, what transpires when maybe you're not and you're listening versus talking, right? So, like, what is it that if you had to do it all over again, what would you do differently so that you can continue to grow in 2026? So my word is, if he's going to make me stick to one, would be different. And, there's another thing that I think applies to what I think we do so well at Board of Advisors is many times there are stereotypes around, let's say somebody's in real estate, or somebody is a doctor, or somebody might be in the e-commerce business or human resource. There's an opportunity for everyone to thrive in the community that we've built, but it's not so apparent the value that each party brings, because what's wildly obvious is they're all humans. And looking at them, you can't tell how successful they are necessarily. You can't tell how experienced they are. You can't tell the size of their Rolodex. You can't tell their motive. Like, there's a lot of things that you can't figure out just by looking at them, but we also make a lot of assumptions initially by looking at them. And I think Board of Advisors does a great job of creating conversations not only with the member, but between members, so that it provokes the real value and the transparency of why this individual is potentially so valuable to the community. They might not be valuable to that person particularly, but having that resource in the community is wildly valuable. And not only for the members of the advisor community, but even for that person. What's wildly interesting is I talked to, we were just on another podcast, and there is a gentleman that his bar is so high for himself, and he feels his status is here, that he sometimes has that imposter syndrome when we put him inside a container of conversation during the meetings, when looking at my member base, at my advisor base, I'm thinking his DNA is the exact fabric that I want within the community. Sometimes it's not even about what other people are seeing as valuable. It's sometimes we're our own worst enemy and not even understanding how to take inventory of our own value. And that's one of the things that Jay taught me. I mean, he did a culture puzzle on myself, Board of Advisors, and showing people through a very simple interview process how to make it obvious, how to get them to see their real value, so that now they know what they bring to the table, and it motivates them to contribute, because they begin to acknowledge, I have 26 years of experience here. I've created some sort of intellectual property. I have a great Rolodex. I actually genuinely care about helping others. Like, before they know it, they've assembled, wow, I can help certain people, and others might be able to help me. And they get comfortable with knowing when it's their turn to contribute, and also knowing when it's their turn to harvest. And I think Jay's a real genius when it comes to taking some of the things that we do inherently because we have the gift, and creating a formula around it so that others can, get a similar end result, because everybody was for years, for 10 years, for a decade. My God, you're so good at creating these connections and you see where the deal is at. But really, what all I saw was, where's the gold in John, and where's the gold in Morgan, and where's the real gold in David and Ruth?
Mm-hmm.
And make or inspire the conversations based around where that real gold and value is. So it always felt good and it always worked, but getting the actual community and the individuals to see, what, there is a little bit of a formula to this that I didn't even see. It was a gut instinct for me because I cared about my people, but to get them to actually see, this can be done if we just acknowledge a few, I think we put 5 core aspects together, and then I added 2 subsequently, Jay. It's a real privilege, honestly, to be here just listening to you guys. And to tell you the truth, I hired Jay when I didn't even know what he was actually going to do for me. He just kept calling me and following me around. And finally I was like, okay, whatever. I don't know what we're doing, but I'll do it. And probably one of the best decisions I ever made.
Cool.
I don't know if we'd be doing the New Year's Eve Lollapalooza had we not.
Right?
Well,
Yeah. So bless you all.
there's a bond that gets created when people stick together and stand by each other without having to owe one another. Life is hard enough as it is. It's really a cool thing when you can find good relationships that just aren't out for the transaction, but out for the actual relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
Amen. Yeah.
But
Yeah, you see this and feel this here, that even in this brief amount of time today, that you don't have a lot of posturing and positioning and I better get this in, I better, like from any in the 6, that there's an ease to the conversation, which then always pulls me in. It always does, rather than, oh, I gotta, I recoil when there's a lot of, again, posturing. And so I'm always grateful that I get to be here. Like I said again.
Well, John, if you look under your seat, I've taped an order form.
I can feel it.
John, what are you
It was
most
a weird
proud of?
feeling at first. Anyway, go ahead. What
are you most proud of in 2025?
Yeah, so first off, the main thing is I've taken some risks, and those risks have succeeded, and I got to do some on-air television work that I've never done in my life. That occurred.
Wow.
Right? I'm well into the book that is going to matter to me a great deal. And I've written a heck of a lot of it this year. And so those risks have been really strong. And the last thing I'll say is just the ability, sounds odd, to keep going. Like I'm watching immortality. I'm sorry, I'm watching mortality in regards to some family health situations, and there's been several situations where it's just been, for me, I could have just folded. And I don't say that to say, yeah, for me, it's like just the suiting up and showing up part, literally, including today, the suiting up and showing up part. That's what I'm most proud of.
Wow.
Cool. Can I ask one other thing? We were hearing sort of the quick context of what people are working on and doing here. I still haven't heard from Ruth Lee, on what you're, besides staying off social media, what you're doing.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm a consultant and I run a company called Big Think. I've been doing it for about 7 years, and I work with leaders in the Morgan financial services space on what I consider complex and high stakes decisions. I'm a CMB, I'm a technologist with an AI governance background, and I've built and exited a couple of companies. And I feel like my role is I help people move from reaction to choice. And so when we were talking about, that last question that you asked was, and I'm really proud that I've learned to stay clear without becoming hard. I mean, there was a couple of years there where I was pretty angry, and I need to be able to hold strong views without needing to fight. And that took time. And, for a lot of reasons, whether, wherever that is, the industry is complex, the country is complex. There's a lot of things. And so I think that's really where, I'm really proud of that. And that's my background. But thank
Cool.
you for asking. I appreciate it. How about you, David?
Oh, well, I've been a technology entrepreneur for about 30 years, and my current project, I actually started in 2019, and I'm finally going to be bringing it to market on February 20th. So this is the thing I'm proudest of myself right now is just this just intense focus over that time, bringing this to life. But what it is I've been blessed with all these amazing mentors in my life. One of them's Howard Teich was my executive coach for about 12 years. Four Arrows is a friend and mentor. He's a performance coach for world champion athletes and high performing executives. And Bill Thatcher is someone I know. I volunteered with him. He does community building programs in prisons. So these are just some of the people that. So when I started seeing this technology of AI coming around and people were talking about human AI alignment, I was like, well, the only way for this to work is if I can help some of these amazing people who are writing books and doing podcasts and videos and speeches and workshops and all this. I was like, what if we could actually take their blueprint, their DNA, their source code, their algorithm, and and people who can't necessarily spend the thousands of dollars a month on a Dr. Teich or, go to Mexico and do ceremony with Four Arrows for a week. What if they had access to this for, $20 a month or whatever it was. So that's what I've been working on, and it's really close. I'm gonna have some examples where when the app was finally done, I just, I took my wife's iPhone and I just started recording and I handed it to her with the app and I was like, let's see what you do. First she just asked this question, what does that do? And then she said, how do I get financial, how do I get my finances better? How do I get more stable, more sustainable? And the answers it gave her were just so beautiful in terms of not just sort of practical things she could do, but really surfacing the need for gratitude and how that was going to help her when she was really appreciative of what she actually had, and surfacing things like generosity in the context of her anxiety and how she had this opportunity to be more generous and how that could help her finance. And I was like, man, this is really cool. So we're launching February 20th at Conscious Life Expo in LA. So I'll definitely get you guys as soon as it's ready. I'll let you know, but it just I'm pretty psyched about it.
I'd love to amplify your initiative in any way that I can.
Mm.
Well, so that's the other thing is when I met Jay, I was like, I could tell just from our first conversation that he was one of those people where if you could take what he did, right? And he was doing the day with Jay. And I was like, well, how about a day without Jay? Like, but still have him present, right? And that's what I look at whenever I meet people now. I'm like, how do I help them put their essence into something that can serve people between the live sessions? So, I can see all these beautiful souls here, and anything I can do to work with you guys will be fun.
Mm.
So how far off are you on the platform?
Yeah, well, like I said, we're less than 2 months away from launch. So, it's gonna be cool. It exists. It just I want it to be amazing. So, it's just a lot of last minute tweaks.
Well, don't allow perfect to be the enemy of progress. And that would be
Yep.
my best recommendation because I have launched a whole lot of these products, and
Yeah.
sometimes perfection is just way outside of reach. But,
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, congratulations. What a
Thank you.
victory
Yeah,
for this year.
congratulations.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting because all my other companies have mostly been venture funded, and there was always this because venture capitalists have portfolios. There's always this, just get an MVP out there, get feedback, get this, get that, and they were always just like, there was always this pressure. And I really decided this time, look, I'm just going to self-fund this. I'm just going to do this for me, and so that's why it's taken me this time, not because I have any particular expectations, but it's not quite what I want yet. And that just feels good.
Mm.
Like that. I'm gonna, if you're all okay with it, I'd love to connect you on an email.
I
So
appreciate
I
Very
that.
would love
much
continue
so.
that.
Absolutely.
conversation.
Please.
I'm gonna challenge our listeners to re-listen, to listen to this episode. I think we're elevating the consciousness of the show. We all get together. And I think we did that today. It's a great way to, I feel like we're getting a second win, Mike, because we almost died about 2 hours ago. Uh, just go
He's
listen
sitting
to the
down. I've
show.
been standing the entire time.
Ah,
See how he's leaning over? Like that's a good sign. So I want to challenge the listeners to maybe if you're just coming in now, start at 5 a.m. and come back and listen to this again. This is a really special episode, I think, and they're all
Mm.
special in their own way, of course. And please share this with a friend, maybe someone that needs to what do you got? Resonate with something different that needs a bit of amity and what's everybody? Oh, you said resonance. What was yours, Morgan? Shoot, I was trying to do something cute and that failed.
For
Like I had
2026, mine is
everybody's word in my
leadership.
head. What's everybody's word? Mine was love.
Well, John
David
had
was
expeditious or
Expeditious. Yeah, exactly.
I remember
Amity.
Amity.
Amity was
Amity.
Ruth.
Amity's a
Lead.
great word.
Isn't that a great word?
Everything about
I
it.
love it.
so if you
You
want to
had,
leave, yeah, what's David's?
yeah,
Oh,
Morgan was
David.
lead. David was
Coherence.
coherence. That's
So if
right.
you have someone in your life that's incoherent that you want to lead to have a different view, expeditiously,
Expeditiously.
amity, so they can love better, you want to introduce them to this episode. That's what I was trying to do.
Love it.
Yeah.
It'll
That's
make a
what you got to do.
difference.
You want someone that is clearly not resonating, right? They have no coherent. They're not coherent. You need them to resonate. Lead them expeditiously to a different point of view of amity so they can love better in the world. Okay, that's my call to action. I love all you guys. Please leave us a review on the Culture Matters podcast so we can continue bringing amazing people like this. We had to fly all of them out for this. And happy.
And the accommodations are world class. So
Well,
thank you.
and Jay, thank you. Thank you for always being a leader and for
Yeah,
always
making this
kind of-
happen. It rocks.
it really means so very much. And your friendship and your wise counsel is always precious to me.
Thank you.
You're a rock
That
star.
was an excellent compliment, Jay.
Right?
So we have 8 more minutes. No, I'm just kidding. All right. See you next year. Please. share this with a friend.
Absolutely. It
Thank
was
you,
Happy
awesome.
everyone,
New
for your
Year.
Thank
time.
you, everybody.
All right,
Great
Great
meeting
Happy
you
New
all.
Year.
Great job.
Thank
New
you so
Year.
much.
Look out for the
Bye,
Happy
bye,
New